Hello, here are some tips and tricks to joining tabular data in QGIS. So the goal here is to take some data that we collected for these different countries and into which we've merged all the countries into one shapefile layer. This shapefile layer, if you look at the attributes, has a unique ID column. And we can use this unique ID number to merge tabular data to this shapefile. That's our goal. Now, one thing to consider about adding tabular data is if you open the tabular data in a spreadsheet software, like here I've opened this data file, this comma separated value file in Calc. And I can take a look at this file and its contents and see what's in it. I can see that we have this unique ID row, so that's a good sign. We can merge on those unique IDs, and I can see that I have this other information that includes some fields that are text and some that are number. And the comma separated value file doesn't really declare what the content of each field is. So you can actually, in QGIS, you can use a CSVT, a template file, to control exactly what will be brought into QGIS and the formats of each column. So for example, if I had just copied and pasted the field names into a little, like basically just took the beginning, let's just close this, don't save. If I just took the beginning, the first row of my data, which is right here, and I just tossed it into an editor, I can just simply copy and paste this field names into a new file right here, which is what I've done. Now I have all the field names of my data, and if I go one by one and check what the content is, I can then declare them. And I could say this unique ID, I want it to be a string with 20 characters. And the country is just a code of 2 characters. And then there's another one, which is a code, which is a few more, and so on, and make sure they're all there. Like every field that ends in a comma should have a corresponding declaration in the CSVT. And once you're sure, like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and so on up to the full number of fields, which is 11, one of which, by the way, is a real precision number that has places past the decimal. So I said keep 8 places past the decimal. And now I have this CSVT, this CSV template file, and I can just get rid of the original field names and just keep my declarations alone. Now here's the other trick about using CSV is that sometimes you want a shorter name than, put this on the desktop, than the original file name. So I want this to be called, for example, z.csvt. I don't need a byte order mark. I just want to call it z.csvt on my desktop. Save. Okay, now I want to take the original CSV file that contains all my attributes and save that to my desktop. And I'm just going to call that z.csv. So basically I have a file that contains the data z.csv, and I have a corresponding file z.csvt that is the template. Now when I open that file using the regular QGIS add vector layer, browse, I'm going to look for, comma separated values. I want to add this one called z.csv, open. Now if I look at this table, for example, examine it in the Table Manager, which is a plugin, I can see that the actual formats of the fields are all brought in exactly as I declared them in the template. And that is really great. That's super useful. So in other words, you can control which ones come in as integers or real numbers. Otherwise, they're all brought in as strings because the program, the application, QGIS, doesn't know what the content was. It's a flat text file. It just thinks everything's a string. So here you can control exactly what those fields contain, which is nice. So if you look at them, you can see that here they are. Here's all my values, including this interesting real number over here. So that's interesting. Now let's go ahead and run the join. We want our target file is this one here. So we go to right-click on that layer and go to the join section and add a join, which is the plus sign. And we say which one to join. Well, we're going to join the Z file. And the field that we're joining on is this unique ID field. And in the target layer, which we already checked, it does have the same IDs in the field of the same name. So hit OK, apply. Now the join has been done, but it's held in buffer. So I'll hit OK, and I'll go check it out. Now in this shapefile, it should have all those values here in buffer. And because I renamed the file to Z, I can actually still read more or less the field names. And these would typically have included the entire file name and then an underscore in the field name. So if you do the following step, which is to save it as a new file, I'm going to save this to my desktop as a test join file, test join shapefile. Once I have saved that file, correct encoding, correct coordinate system, I'm not saving selections, okay, here it is, test join. Now, instead of being in buffer, the fields that I tried to join are now permanently joined to this test join shapefile. And it respected the definitions that I gave to each of the fields that I wanted to, including a real number here on the end. The cool thing about that is now I can go to my properties and I can try to simply style them, for example, a graduated style, and I will have all the fields that I declared as numbers, including that real number at the end. I can have a ramp, green to red, invert it so it goes red to green, blue to green, blue to red. And then I like using quantiles and boosting the classes a bit. Apply. Okay. So here are the values based on that real number that we just attached from our tabular CSV file. So there's a couple of tricks for using CSV and joining it to shapefiles in QGIS. Thanks for watching.